Hey everyone, Alan Bauer here in Bay City, Michigan, and I have a couple things I want to talk about tonight, and I'm going to try to keep this quick. But one of the things is, you see a lot of egos in this business sometimes. So one of the things I want to talk about is to make sure you keep your own ego in check. And I got to do this myself sometimes too. I think we all do. I think we're all guilty of it at times. So when I talk about this, every time I do this, I'm calling myself out to some extent on something too, because I've probably done this somewhere uh, during my career in here. The other thing I want to talk about is some of these Facebooks and Facebook groups and how people, they devote their whole time marketing to this. So let's do the ego first. So, a lot of times you get some alpha personalities in a group, and you have this little struggle for dominance. Like who's going to be the dominant person, who's going to be the number one expert. And it's kind of funny because I hang around some of these different groups, and not just this group, but like MLM groups or something, and it could even be other company ones, whatever, like other, not even multi-level marketing, just be other groups in general. But they all kind of have the same thing in common. Like in this group, you're always going to find that one person that has to be that expert. And if they see another expert come in, it's like, oh, I have to one up them. I have to outdo them and show everybody how smart I am. And it's good to have knowledge. Like, believe me, it's good to have it. And I was really guilty of this too. Like, I thought I had to have all this knowledge. I had to be this expert. And I would just spout everything out, and I'd bore somebody to death when I give them all this knowledge, especially if they didn't ask for it. Now, what's cool to have the knowledge is sometimes like we'd be given a class or something, and all of a sudden somebody asked this really deep question. Well, maybe I just happen to know about it. And, so a lot of people like that or whatever, but you don't need to be an expert. You really don't. I mean, when this business comes down to it, all you really have to do is say, hey, have you heard about CBDA? You probably heard about CBD. Have you heard about CBDA? Well, no, I haven't. Well, check this video out. I got this 3-minute video. Give them your website. Let me know what you think. That's it. That's all there is to this business. Let the experts do the selling for you. They're going to do better, because I could sit there and go on 2 hours about something, and this 3-minute video is going to do it much better. And it comes from somebody that actually has the credentials, like a doctor, like a medical doctor, a neurologist who specializes in pain. So they're much more credible than I am, even though I can spout off for 2, 3 hours about something and put you to sleep. So I've learned to use the experts. Now let's go back to these Facebook groups. So you see some of these groups that'll be like, oh, advertise your MLM opportunity for free in here. And what do you see in these groups? It's nothing but people spamming their links. And you can get away with it there. It's cool. I recommend you do it. Just do it for the fun of it. Like, wow, I can spam my link here and nobody's going to yell at me for it. But look at how many likes you have, like zero. Everybody in there, and you'll have 30,000 people in this room, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, if I can just put my link here, even if I get, 10% of them to take a look at it, that's 3,000 people. And what if 10% of them join up? Then I got 300 people, and it's like, you don't get one like, because everybody's in there for one reason. They just, they have their MLM, they're tied to it, and they're thinking the same thing you are. And everybody's trying to promote their own thing, and nobody gives a crap about anybody else's opportunity in there. So it can be fun. It can be fun to watch how many links or how many likes they get. And the only time you see a like is like somebody else in their team's in there, or their mom's in there, or something like, ooh, mom likes this. So it's kind of funny to look at that. But now let's go to the other groups. You have that one expert in there, and somebody will ask a question, and I try to answer some of these questions sometimes, or put a little bit of input into it. Um, and if I do see somebody else, here's the other thing too. Like, I don't try to be, the big expert in the room, but if I see somebody else doing a good job on something, I'll try to build them up, even if they're not on my team. The thing is we want to help lift other people up. So if you see somebody doing something good, give them a little like or a thumbs up or a nice little comment like, hey, that's cool. Doesn't matter if they're on your team, they're on somebody else's team, whatever. You see somebody doing something cool, but then you always got to have that one person, they got to spout out everything they know. They got to post this long, well, blah, 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 blah. And they're in there being the expert all the time, but you never see them like recruiting anybody into their business. They're too busy, reading all these documents and educating themselves, and they're super educated, but they can't market. So you'll see those different personalities in there. It's pretty funny. Sometimes you see some drama going on between some people, things like that. I try to avoid all of that stuff. It's kind of funny in a way, but it's part of being human. People have their little quirks. I mean, I have mine. I'd like to pretend that I don't. I know most of us pretend, and I used to be in denial, but I joke around with Karen, that I'm right 98.2% of the time. But well, here's an example today too. So Karen's working on her dissertation, and she gets it graded, and so I can tell like the content's good because the instructor like talking about how interesting it is and everything, but this instructor you can tell kind of has an ego going too because they were an English major, whatever. It's like, and they had to like just cut apart like the layout or these links. It wasn't like perfect. The font wasn't here or there perfect, or this wasn't bold. And it's like there's no guidance ahead of time, but they have to show how much knowledge they have. This isn't even about English, but they have to, well, they have this, all this knowledge in English and they're doing it. So they turn it into an English class. So, I mean, and you see people do that and they really let their ego go. And I'm thinking like, are they really trying to teach people here or are they trying to impress them with their knowledge? So a lot of times it's better, like even when you get questions, you may think it's a stupid question or something, but if you get something, like put yourself in that person's place. Like, why are they asking this? Like we'll have some weird questions before, like, like a lot of people want to know, well, where are your crops grown? I don't know, Kentucky, Colorado, does it really matter? You have all the third party lab tests. To me, the big thing is make sure you got everything in there that's pure, all your ingredients. You don't have any mold, yeast, mildew, fungus, any of that junk in there, foreign objects and stuff, no pesticides, herbicides, all that stuff in there. So those are things that you want to have. But then I'll get people say, well, where do they get the water source for the fields? I'm thinking, I don't know. The water comes from the sky. I don't know. I mean, or whatever river is flowing by if they irrigate it. People get too hung up on that, but yet they want to be so pure. They want to be like CBD connoisseurs, like, oh, I have to have the purest. But they just went to McDonald's. They go eat out at McDonald's every day, and they drink a 2 liter of Coke or something every single day, and they smoke, and they do have all these other bad habits. But when it comes to taking CBD, oh my gosh, I have to have the purest because I only put pure stuff in my body, and it kind of cracks me up. But so I just wanted to kind of say that, like sometimes you got to watch it too. Like I just kind of make a joke out of everything, like because sometimes people want to attack you. Like you say something and somebody wants to jump on you. Oh, the competitors. Sometimes you get the competitors trolling in these groups too, which can be pretty funny. Like there was another company, they kind of popped up and they're, really like trolling all of our Facebook groups that we were hanging out in, and they were just trying to cut CTFO down all the time, and it's like, and they were on the radar screen for like a little blip, and now you don't even hear about them anymore. It's like, who is that? Like, what company? So they're gone, and all these people that were in it, and trying to cut our company down. And that's the thing too. You don't want to cut anybody down or cut a company down because there's that old saying that I like. I don't know who said it, but somebody said if you want to have the tallest building in the city, there's two ways you can do it. You can either try to tear down everybody else's buildings, all these other hundreds or thousands of buildings. You can try to tear everybody else down so you're bigger, or you can just try to build yours as big as you can. So I'm going to leave on that note there. Just something to think about. Keep the ego in check. Don't take anything too personally. Learn to laugh things off, and just kind of watch. Kind of people watch in these groups, and you're going to see these people that I talk about. You're going to get the expert. You're going to get the other person that they think the whole way to do it is just to constantly post the same meme or something all the time, or the same series of memes, or it's just really funny to do that. But when it comes to marketing, that's fine. Get into some of these groups. I like the groups more for learning and things like that, not trying to, grab people out of these groups to recruit or anything. I like to go out and do my blogs and my YouTube videos, things like that, to bring people to reach out to me. So you got to do some different things too. You can put that stuff on your personal Facebook page. Just don't make it look like an infomercial all the time. But talk about the product. Talk about what it's doing for you, because what people really want, a lot of times they don't need that. Well, this was grown here, and it's all pure organic, and this and that, and here's this lab test, and it passed this microbial thing, and all this, and here's what this doctor said about it. I mean, you can get into all this stuff and people just glaze right over, man. All they want to know is, hey, I got this issue going on. Is this stuff going to work for me or not? Because if it's going to work for me, I'll give it a shot. If I don't think it's going to work for me, then I don't care. So people just want their problem solved. So figure out, listen to people. I try to talk less when I'm actually having a conversation. I know I talk a lot on here, but when I'm actually having a conversation with somebody, I try to keep my mouth shut and get them to talk more. I'll ask questions, but I listen to them and really try to get them to talk and figure out what it is that they want. And then I help them find a way how to get there, how to reach that solution. So that's all I got for tonight. I said I'd keep it short, but I didn't. So talk to you tomorrow. Bye.